Hi everyone, I'm Bri from Hot Chicks with Big Brains, and I'm here with Laura Elizabeth Woollett in her home office in Brunswick in Melbourne, and we are talking about her brand new book, which is a collection of short stories called The Love of a Bad Man. Sorry. Congratulations.
Thank you.
For when you at home read it. Hello. For when you at home read it, you read all the short stories, and then at the end there's, what would you describe it as, like an appendix?
Yeah.
So like the basic facts that you were then inspired by to fill out, like a short story length. Did you always know that you wanted to present the book in that way? Because when you finish, as a reader, like when I finish reading all of the short stories, and then at the end, all of a sudden I'm confronted by the facts of like each one that happened, it's like really overwhelming.
Yeah. I think I always had the idea of wanting to do that. Just because it gives a bit more objectivity to it, and it shows that you know this is fiction compared with the fact, and also showing my sources in some ways because I have my bibliography as well, and just so because it is fiction and just so readers can see that difference.
The other thing I felt when I finished it was like terrified that I might one day fall in love with a bad man. Because all of the women are so different. There's no like archetype of, oh, that's the kind of woman who falls in love with a bad man. When you were writing it, did you feel afraid like that?
Sure, yeah. And also, I think my general feeling like writing this was like, how far into like moral relativism am I like, falling? Because it is like, you get into these people's heads and because you are in their heads, you're like making excuses or justifications, presenting their stories, and it's like, where is my moral center while I'm writing this? And because I did try to be like non-judgmental while I was writing, and but definitely like I feel like, not so much now because I feel like I'm older and wiser, but I definitely feel like, as a teenager, maybe I could have fallen into one of these situations for sure. And
only it was like just literally today online I saw a picture of how like handsome and charming the young Stalin was.
Oh really? Okay.
And I was like, I got really afraid. I was like, he is handsome and charming.
Yeah. A lot of those people, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Have you like had any like strange experiences with like the marketing of it and people being weirded out?
Not so far, but I'm very much like waiting to see what happens.
Yeah.
But no, because I had a interview in The Guardian today, and there's only 3 comments so far, but all of them are like, oh, this seems like it's making excuses for horrible people. I think I'll give it a miss on principle, and things like that. And I'm just like, okay, I kind of expected that in some ways.
I feel like that's not a fair treatment of this book. Like,
and another one was like, it's just saying these women were manipulated and that they were brainless or something. It's like, no, if you read the book, some of them are, active.
Yeah. That's like the whole point. How does that make you feel?
Kind of annoyed, but also it's not completely unexpected, I guess.
This is the first in your 2-book deal with
Yeah.
Scribe.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us a little bit about what the novel is and about how this like fits in with that?
So basically my novel is about a young couple who join People's Temple, the cult that led to Jonestown. And it follows them over a 10-year period from 1968 to 1978.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It's huge, and I've already got like 75,000 words and it's maybe 2/3 done, so it's going to be a big fat book, I think. But basically it focuses on this couple, but especially the young woman who leaves her husband and ends up with Jim Jones as his mistress. And I have a story in here which is actually from Jones's wife's perspective, and I was originally wanting to write about the mistress, but I just couldn't get a good first person voice for her. She was very difficult, and I felt like any voice, first person, and especially short story length, it just didn't work. It felt like an oversimplification in a lot of ways, and she was a really interesting character. Got her.
Oh wow!
So this is like my inspiration book pictures I compiled while writing The Love of a Bad Man.
And how did you find all this stuff?
Just online. Everything's online. Myra.
It's quite shocking to see these like photos in the same way that it's shocking to read the actual facts at the end of the book.
Yeah.
When you're like, they're not just stories. Like,
yeah.
You know.
Especially like the difference between these, like they just look really creepy in both pictures. But
there's like the before and after.
Yeah, you know, that's them being like well scrubbed Mormons, and that's them, you know, prison photos.
Wow. And this is also like an inspiration board?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm very visual. I like having images.
Wow.
Place.
And can you tell us, like, did you always know you wanted to be a writer? What is your journey been like?
I think so in some ways. I won a short story competition when I was like 7 years old for a story I wrote about my fish.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history. But no, I had a few times where I wanted to be other things, I think, but you get to use that when you're writing.
Oh,
so
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I made the right choice.
Well, yeah, because this is a bloody good book. And I guess, finally, do you have any advice for our viewers about how to not fall in love with a bad man?
That's a good one. I guess just like, you know, if he's asking you to do something you're not comfortable with, like, there's some very extreme examples of that. But yeah, I think, you know, with those feelings in your stomach, you should probably trust them.
Well, thank you so much for chatting to us.
Yeah, no worries.
The Love of a Bad Man, in stores as of yesterday. From all good booksellers. What am I doing? Thank you very much. This has been Laura Elizabeth Woollett, and I'm Bri Lee for Hot Chicks with Big Brains.
Thank you. Bye.